The Thai military leaders have a meeting with a Japanese team to negotiate. Dr. Kaito explains that Japan wants to advance into India and China, so they'll use Thailand as their base. He points out that the Thai government agreed to pay war reparations and even give them supplies. Kaito also plays a video to show them their experimental biological weapon. A man squirms in pain for a few minutes before his face becomes monstrous. Japan doesn't want to fight its allies, but it'll use this weapon if Thailand doesn't cooperate. The Thai commander agrees to give their base to Japan but explains he must at least put up a show of resistance. Afterward, the troops are put on high alert and the young soldiers must get ready for battle, but Mok decides to go home instead. The captain comes by and tells Mok's mother Tarn that all soldiers must report for duty. Tarn already lost her husband in the war and doesn't want to lose her kids as well, so she argues with the captain to buy time while Mok sneaks out through the back door. When Mok reaches the woods, he bumps into Mek, who calls him out for being a coward and always running away from his problems. Mok mockingly salutes him and says he won't stay to be butchered, reminding him he never wanted to be a soldier like the rest of the family. When Mek tells him he's going to be an uncle, Mok asks him to run away together, but Mek refuses because he wants to protect his loved ones. After Mek leaves, Mok has to deal with his inner struggle. On the beach, the Thai troops are being slaughtered by the Japanese army. Bodies are dropping all over the place without mercy, turning the sea water red. Mok comes back and quickly rejoins his teammates, who rush to hide in fear. The captain starts yelling at them to try to convince them to fight, but a bullet instantly kills him. When the battle starts to slow down, Mok convinces his team to run. Nearby, a Japanese box washes ashore. Suddenly it opens and a zombie crawls out. Later in the woods, the young soldiers keep running, but something is moving fast among the trees, jumping on the men one by one to kill them. After lots of running, Mok realizes he's the only soldier left. To make it worse, he stepped into a swamp and now he's slowly sinking. In just a few seconds, his whole body is underwater. At that moment, a soldier reaches into the water and pulls Mok out. After taking a deep breath, Mok looks up and is horrified to discover that he's been rescued by a zombie. In fact, all his teammates surround the swamp, revealing that they've all transformed. In the office, the Thai military leaders and Kaito listen to the news, confirming that the Thai government has asked for a ceasefire and is now negotiating with Japan. Moments later, a patrol team reaches the forest and finds bones hanging from a vine. Suddenly this vine starts shaking and the noise alerts the zombies, who come out of hiding to attack. The patrol immediately opens fire, and the zombies are knocked down. After several minutes of just shooting randomly, the soldiers try to retrieve the bodies, only to see that the zombies are gone. When they turn around, they discover that their leader is missing half of their head and a zombie is feeding on it. The rest of the zombies soon return and quickly surround them with a surprise attack. At the base, a mother desperately looks for her missing husband. Pen is there working as a nurse and comforts her, telling her that the search teams will find everyone soon. The radio announces that negotiations went well and Japan and Thailand are now friends, so Thai citizens are asked to support the Japanese troops. Sometime later, Mek arrives in the forest in search of his brother, but only finds pieces of bodies and a dying fire. Suddenly he hears a noise and follows it to a spike pit, where he sees a soldier at the bottom. Mek ties a rope around a tree and climbs into the pit, wanting to help the man. However, he's horrified to find a zombie missing his face. The zombie immediately attacks him, so Mek grabs a spike to fight back. After some struggle, Mek pushes the zombie back and impales his head, yet the zombie keeps moving. Then Mek grabs the rope and starts climbing out, but the zombie grabs his leg and pulls him down, causing him to accidentally drop his pocket watch. As he falls, Mek manages to grab a pike from the dying fire. The sparks immediately light the zombie on fire, and this finally kills him. One spark also damages Mek's eye. On the beach, Mok wakes up surrounded by more zombies and chewed bodies. As he watches a butterfly, he thinks about what happened in the forest. It turns out Mok was bitten and became a zombie too. The other zombies had a feast and a woman had her organs ripped out while Mok jumped on a little girl. In the present, Mok yells in frustration as he realizes he's become a monster. When Mek returns to the base, he tells his superiors what he saw. Kaito has the now empty box and desperately asks Mek for the location. Then Kaito plays some videos to review the old research. His biological weapon is considered a virus and was tested in 2 animal groups. The survivors from Group 1 showed a high level of strength, aggressiveness, and efficient combative behavior. They also had signs of cannibalism. However, the survivors from Group 2 didn't attack even though they were stronger and faster. It seemed they had some self-control. In the forest, Mok looks at the pieces of bodies on the ground but doesn't react. Near the pit, he finds his brother's watch and picks it up. There's a picture of his parents that causes him to cry, but this crying soon turns into roaring, and the other zombies roar along. In the medical tents, Mek checks the patients to look for his brother to no avail. A survivor overhears him talking and tells him that he saw Mok earlier. Mek desperately wants to know where, but his questioning is interrupted by his commander asking him to attend a meeting. In the main tent, a Japanese soldier is scolded for losing the box, so he deals with his shame by self-deleting with a knife. When the commander and Mek arrive, Kaito explains that his biological weapon escaped from the box and that it could transform other people into zombies too. The commander wants to report this, but Captain Nakamura forbids it. He explains he has a plan to take care of this while keeping it secret and shows them an official document from the Thai military leaders, which forces Mech and his commander to join the destroyer task force to capture all the zombies alive. In the forest, Mach watches the other zombies eat any body that they find on the ground. He remembers chasing after the girl and eating her without mercy, which fills him with guilt. Mach picks up a gun and tries to self-delete, but his body suddenly heats up and starts secreting a strange liquid that sets his hands on fire. Before his whole body can burn down, another zombie pushes him into the mud to put the fire out and covers his whole body with mud too. At the same time, Kaido continues to review the research. When a larger dose of the virus was injected, the reaction was positive. They discovered that during particularly stressful or emotional moments, specimens were capable of self-combustion, so Kaido realizes the zombie's weakness is fire. When the virus was tested in humans, it began to evolve. A few hours later, Mach wakes up in a cave where all the zombies are also awakening from their naps. Pack leader Nobu brings an animal for dinner and they roar at him in desperation, but Nobu roars louder in return to make them submit. After Nobu leaves, the zombies rush to eat the animal. Mach follows Nobu and finds him in a corner of the cave, crying as he looks at pictures of his wife and the poem she wrote him. This makes Mach look at his parents' picture again and he remembers the day the captain came to his house to recruit Mech. Mach was happy that his brother would be gone because he'd get his bed and sang a rude song about Mech getting killed in the battlefield, which the others found offensive. In the present, Mach cries and finds the same sadness in the way Nobu is howling. When Nobu leaves the cave, Mach follows him and finds the pictures in the water. Nobu is standing in the river and staring ahead because he's hallucinating the ghost of his wife. She shares words of love and recites the poem, putting Nobu through lots of grief and stress. After yelling in frustration, Nobu's body dissolves into ashes, which touch a plant to make it blossom. Meanwhile, the other zombies are feeding on a big animal, but they're still hungry. One of them manages to speak and tells his friends that Japan made them like this, so they should eat them for revenge. In the forest, the task force finds a massacre. There's blood, flesh, and limbs all over the place, so they follow the trail of destruction to keep looking for the zombies. When they finally hear a noise nearby, Nakamura makes his team hide. Then he pulls out a knife to spill some blood. A zombie is immediately attracted by the smell and approaches Nakamura, but before he can attack, a soldier shoots him with a harpoon to capture him. At the base, the captured zombie is kept in a cage. The soldiers throw hot water at him and Mech complains, considering it torture. He thinks it'd be better to kill the creature, but Kaido wants to catch all the zombies and keep them alive to study them. At that moment the zombie removes the harpoon from his body and shakes the cage bars, so a soldier shoots him several times. The zombie is in a lot of pain but he won't die. Afterward a civilian is brought and the zombie immediately recognizes him as his father. They both cry for each other as the father demands to know what they did to his son. Nakamura suddenly stabs the father in the head, and the zombie has a breakdown. Mech immediately loses his mind, so his commander drags him away and reminds him they don't have authority anymore. Then Nakamura makes his men pour poison gas on the zombie, who keeps crying and reaching for his father. A furious Mech jumps on Nakamura and punches him, so the commander has to drag him back again. Nakamura points his sword at them and tells the commander to deal with his men. The commander reluctantly informs Mech that he's now discharged from the mission so he must go home. At that moment the zombie manages to break the cage and come out. The soldiers watch in shock as the creature starts eating his own father. When Mach returns to the cave, he finds the zombies discussing their past lives. They all used to have dreams for their futures, but they had to abandon them when they were forced to join the army. One of them admits he wanted to sing, so he shares a song and soon everyone is singing along. At that moment they realize one of them is missing, so they agree to go looking for him. In a village nearby, the locals are doing a special ritual to try to keep the evil creatures away. Soon the zombies surround the village and start feeding on the locals. A mother and her daughter are shocked to notice that one of the monsters is their beloved husband and father. Meanwhile Pen is going home on her bicycle, but she has to stop to fix the light. Suddenly she sees someone walking and screams because it's only a couple of legs. At home, Tarn is praying for her son's safe return, unaware that Mach is approaching the house. When a picture falls from the wall, she sees it as a bad omen and closes the window. Afterward she steps outside to smoke and is suddenly startled by Mech, who tells her to stay inside. He also explains that his brother is probably alive, so Tarn thanks him for the good news with a hug. Mach overhears everything and cries as he realizes he can't reunite with them, so he leaves. At that moment Pen arrives and tells them what she saw. Mech immediately brings out a gun and gives it to Tarn, telling her to shoot anything strange and set it on fire if it still moves. In the forest, a monk is meditating behind a veil. A zombie tries to approach him and the monk immediately recognizes him as his son, so he starts praying. The zombie falls to his knees and prays too before leaving. Nearby, a zombie is chasing after the mother and her kid. When the girl falls the zombie manages to catch up to them, but he freezes because he recognizes his daughter. At that moment the commander and his right hand arrive and the soldier gets ready to shoot, but the commander stops him. The zombie says his daughter's name and tries to communicate, so the girl touches his face and cries because her dad is hurt. When the zombie is about to touch her head, The task force appears. The mother drags the girl away before the soldiers shoot their harpoon, but the soldiers fail their shot and end up killing both the woman and the child instead. Then the rest of the zombies arrive, so the soldiers open fire. The commander recognizes them as his men, so he decides to fight for them by shooting at the Japanese soldiers. Unfortunately, his right hand immediately gets killed. When the commander gets shot too, he sees Mock among the zombies and tells him to run before he drops dead. Mock holds the commander's body and cries for his death. At that moment, Mech arrives and sees the zombies eating the task force. A creature is even ripping out a soldier's whole rib cage. Then he notices that Mock has become a monster, so he shoots him in the shoulder. Mock says his brother's name before he starts running, yet Mech shoots him again. A desperate Mock continues to beg, however Mech fires a third time and causes his brother to fall off a cliff. Mech falls and yells in grief, feeling guilty for what he died. Suddenly Mock returns and attacks him. Moments later, Mech wakes up and discovers he's a zombie too. At the base, Kaido tells Nakamura Jr. that his father's idea of keeping the zombies alive is too dangerous. While Kaido plays a video showing the effects of the zombie ash on nature, Nakamura Jr. accuses him of treason. Kaito explains he'd rather be a traitor than let the zombies kill more people. In the morning, all the surviving civilians including Pen, Tarn, and the monk are taken to a safe house. The Japanese soldiers bring pictures of the young Thai recruits, claiming that they've found their bodies and they need to be identified. All the civilians have a breakdown as they see their sons' faces on the board. After putting a zombie in the box, Nakamura informs a Thai commander that they must kill all the civilians because there can't be any eyewitnesses. The official story will say they were war victims. The commander complains, but Nakamura reveals that both governments already agreed to this. In the cave, Mock sees a few zombies eating a person whom he recognizes as an old friend. He yells at them and the zombies respond by attacking him, so a fight ensues. When Mech sees that his brother is overpowered, he rushes to help him and reveals he's acquired amazing strength. He easily defeats the whole group and roars at them in fury, causing them to fall to their knees in submission. At that moment, another zombie enters the cave. He explains he was captured and tortured, but he managed to escape. He also shares that their parents are about to be executed. Mock thinks it's a trap to lure them out, but Mech refuses to abandon his family and calls his brother a coward again. In the forest, a soldier is guiding the civilians under the excuse of prayer while Nakamura and his soldiers keep watch from their hiding spot. Nakamura Jr. tries to talk to his father, but he's ignored. Soon the zombies arrive and the civilians have a breakdown when they see what their sons have become. Then Nakamura orders his men to open fire, so the civilians start getting killed. One by one, they all drop dead to the ground. The zombies run to hold their dying relatives as they cry in grief. Mock clings to his mother while Mech cries over Pen. After some hesitation, Mech decides to bite his girlfriend, keeping her alive by transforming her. At that moment Nakamura presses a button to make a hidden cage rise from a pile of leaves and trap all the zombies. While a soldier locks the cage, Mech bites his mother too, but it's too late for her so she doesn't transform. Another zombie bites the soldier at the lock, causing him to run back to his team. In just a few minutes, the soldier transforms into a zombie and tries to attack the rest of the task force. Nakamura quickly pulls out his sword and slashes his neck to bring him down. The zombies keep shaking the cage in fury and thanks to Mech's strength, the lock breaks. Then the zombies come out to attack the task force and soon there are a bunch of new creatures made from bitten Japanese men. A horrified Nakamura throws 2 grenades and the explosion manages to kill a few zombies, but most of them run away. In the forest, Pen is getting used to being a zombie. Mech reveals he stole a sword from a fallen soldier and announces he wants revenge as his eyes turn black. He gives a speech to get the other zombies to support him, but Mock gets worried when his brother says they need to make more zombies for their team, since he doesn't think other people should suffer like them. Another zombie also complains, pointing out that he lost his brother in the explosion, so this revenge will only end up with more death. Mech grabs the sword to punish him, but Pen jumps in to act as a shield and gets killed. Mock cries out in grief, yet Mech doesn't react. He just kills the other zombie and says he has a plan. The next morning, Mock wakes up thinking about his family and all the wild things that happened over the past few days, unable to deal with so many emotions. Suddenly he sees a hallucination of his family and his body starts turning into ash. However, when he remembers his brother calling him a coward who doesn't fight for anything, he takes the shape of a zombie again. At the base, Nakamura bursts into Kaido's tent and shoots him in the head. Then he searches all Kaido's notes and learns that the zombies are weak to fire, so he tells his men to get the flamethrower. Moments later, Nakamura and his soldiers are following a few zombies through the forest. The chase eventually takes them to a cave where they're surprised to find thousands of fireflies. Suddenly all the bugs disappear, and the zombies use the darkness to attack. The soldiers immediately open fire, but the bullets don't kill the zombies, so it's easy for them to advance and start biting the members of the task force one by one. When a man activates the flamethrower, the zombies are forced to run away, so another chase ensues. The task force finds the zombies feeding on one of their soldiers, so they open fire again while running to hide in a narrow passage. The zombies follow them and one by one the Japanese soldiers get killed without mercy. The only one who manages to survive is Nakamura, who leaves the passage and runs until he falls into a puddle. He quickly covers his whole body with mud and stands against the wall, so when the zombies come looking for him, they don't see him and just keep walking. Then Nakamura starts moving very carefully, planning a surprise attack. However, a firefly appears and gives away his position, so the zombies come back for him. Nakamura tries to activate the flamethrower, but the mud has clogged it. While the zombies bite Nakamura, the fallen Japanese soldiers start transforming. Soon Nakamura becomes a zombie as well. At the same time, Mok arrives and finds the flamethrower on the ground. When the Thai zombies try to leave the cave, they find Mok blocking the entrance. Mok cries for his brother and his teammates, which triggers Mek's memories. His eyes go back to normal and he salutes Mok, who uses the flamethrower to set them all on fire. Nakamura and the task force come to the entrance too when they're done transforming. Mek and his men immediately jump on them to spread the flames so everyone can die together. After remembering his friends one last time, Mok jumps in to meet his end as well.